Well, John, lifecycle service orchestration is really a set of functions and APIs to allow service providers to be able to automate not only their own networks, but also networks across multiple carriers. So those functions are 8 different distinct functions defined by MEF, which are fulfillment, control, performance, assurance, usage, analytics, policy, and security. And what underway right now is really define that layer of service orchestration and define the interfaces, both southbound interface to SDN controllers or to manual, and northbound to application and portal. And we also define the eastbound and westbound, which is exactly the one I mentioned earlier, to communicate between different service providers. So that's the lifecycle service orchestration. It's really a set of functions, a complete service lifecycle, and the API associated with it. We always believe that at MEF, and now I think the industry start taking similar belief as we do at MEF, is in order to achieve the goals of flexible networks, cost savings, and service agility, you need 3 things. One is the software-defined networking component. The second one is network virtualization, function virtualization, NFV. And the third one, which is a really key one, is LSO. The reason we say that is because SDN and NFV, they're really more concerned with the network element as well as network infrastructure configuration and control and management. And LSO is the only one looking at service layer, which is the most important to their customers, end to end. And that's where the really what we see how the things fit together. In addition to that, I just add a little bit, is LSO also covers the automation part for existing infrastructure, which is really important. We're going to see a long transition between the existing one to SDN, pure SDN NFV based infrastructure. So LSO gave that seamless connection between the 2 different worlds. Okay, well, the first one is a typical connectivity services, private network connectivity services. We want that to be on demand. That's LSO could do. The second one is business to cloud. That's actually is really important because right now, majority of the content and business they want to access is in the cloud, but they don't really necessarily always want to go through internet. First, if there's a performance issue. Second, there's a security issues. Now, private network initiated and enabled by LSO can provide that on demand. Enterprise will love that. Last but not least is, in my personal experience, I always wanted to see that happen is when you travel on the road, how many times you always wonder, oh my God, can I have a good connection today? When you present to customers or presenting to partners, you want to make sure that your connection is okay. You wonder about that. Wouldn't that be great with the application on your phone or on my screen, we can click, I said, access to the third network. That will be enabled by LSO. That will be a really fantastic thing to do. How
far-reaching will the impact of lifecycle services orchestration be?
We certainly believe that has a tremendous impact for every single service provider in this world. Because today, if you think about today, every single service providers are building their own IT systems. The goal here is hopefully is be able to buying software off the shelf where actually pre-build a majority of the functions so they can really automate their process and deliver the service to the customers. And we certainly believe that's one goal of that. And the second goal, even more noble in the sense of you be able to deliver services across multiple service providers. So, my favorite example is, you pick up phone, you can call everybody today, and without knowing how many service providers in between, and then connection made in seconds. That's control plane is very impressive. Well, MEF obviously defined the overall architecture. In fact, we have architecture documents actually coming out here shortly, and define the overall reference for LSO. In addition to that, we work with others like ONF, which is define the SDN controller-related functions, because their northbound interface is actually our southbound interface. So we want to make sure that coordination is there. In addition, we work with SDN NFV ISG group, which they're really concerned about the manual and want to make sure there's a tight connection there as well. Going forward, though, if you think of overall deployment, there's so many other stakeholders, vendors, service providers alike. They all wanted to make sure that their part of the development or roadmap would be, standards compliant, so really help us to move things forward. Well, clearly we have so many things going on, both from standards perspective, which we're defining here at MEF, and also here at the show, we have a LSO hackathon. So what that does is a bunch of service providers and equipment vendor developers. We're talking about writing a code, and to come together, really doing fast-paced development. In this particular case, we're looking at LSO APIs. And these type of work allow us to be able not only do the standards, but hopefully will advance from the software development perspective and quicker. In combination of the two, making LSO a reality.